Hey everyone, welcome back to our continuing coverage of the North American LCS, and now joining me at the analyst desk for our final two matches, Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler.
I just moved over here to see if my Twitter response got picked.
What's your screen name?
Obi-Wan Kobe?
Definitely not going to read your tweet. Even if it's there, I'm just going to pass right on by. So remind everyone, today we were asking you, what's the most surprising development in the North American LCS and why? Here's what you guys wrote in with. First up, at Raj Beard says the most surprising is the slump that Cloud9 has been in recently, although it just shows that North America's been improving as a whole.
I mean, it is surprising, but you account for all of the, the injury, also the time at All-Stars, a little less surprising there.
Yeah.
Expect them to have some sort of rocky comeback.
Yeah, hopefully they can make it at the end, though, because they're looking a little bit shaky right now. Next up, Stevie JGTV says the most surprising development has been Dignitas's haircuts. The Kiwi Bowl and Cutie Pie braid have been nothing short of breathtaking.
I definitely agree with that one. You're not going to make your pun?
So, what? I got nothing. Okay. No, I got nothing.
Breathtaking? Talking about Cloud9 just
wow, that's too soon.
All right. I expected more from Freak. I'm sorry.
Hey,
what's the third one?
It's from Obi-Wan Kobe. No, from Pascal Krupski, says Seraph and LMQ's English skills. They are continually learning and improving. I got to add Helios to that list as well.
It was really surprising, especially the first interview with Xiao Xiao coming back with an answer in English while the translator's there. Everybody was very, very impressed.
Yeah, it's good. I like seeing the growth of all those players. It's gonna keep being better and better. Next up, at Waddles Law says the effect of veteran coaches. Skara taking Dignitas to the top. Loco Doco bringing out the brand new Team Solo mid. This is gonna be big.
People were talking about coaches for a long time, and I always referenced infrastructure in Korea and stuff like that. And everyone was like, "Yeah, that's it helps the teams a lot. They are focused. They have analysts. They have coaches."
Yeah.
Yes, people are now getting all these coaches over here, and we're seeing very, very immediate results for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, Coach Odoku has been really good for TSM, and they're going to keep their way, probably going up for here. So anyway, thanks to everyone that wrote in, and if you're not already, be sure to follow us on Twitter. We are at LOL Esports. And now to set the stage for our next game, let's send it over to Riv and Jat. And as we go, Doublelift is very familiar with EG's new jungler, and says that his overly aggressive play style won't be what trips him up in the North American League.
I'm actually good friends with Helios because I lived in Korea and he was like one of the people I was closest with. And now he's coming to EG. I think back in the day he was really good. Super aggressive player, only ganks, never farms. In my experience with him, his English isn't like fluent. It's good enough to have a conversation with, but it's gonna have problems talking in game.
The question is, does CLG kind of focus what was EG's like ramp up yesterday into what was momentum and almost closing the game?
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's strong words from Doublelift as usual.
Oh, as usual. All right, it's on to our next Summoner Showdown, Counterlogic Gaming versus Evil Geniuses. And Jad, a point of interest coming into this, so these are the only teams to split to lose a game despite a sizable gold lead, which just goes to show money isn't everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we saw EG unable to close a game yesterday despite that great lead. And Doublelift even said it was going to be an easy game because EG couldn't close out games. But he has a short memory. Last week against Cloud9, CLG also wasn't able to close out the game with an equally large gold lead. And yesterday in CLG's win over Complexity, it was a different story. We saw CLG once again just kind of flexing their muscles against Complexity. Doublelift and Aphromoo looked great in that game. They took control of the game. Despite actually Aphromoo giving up a few early deaths, he controlled with 11 assists. Afro's Braum was probably the best we saw out of the LCS supports yesterday.
This is a true story. Meanwhile, we get our first look at EG's new jungler, Helios. Even with the addition of his aggressive shot calling, Evil Geniuses still struggled to close out the game.
Yeah, EG came out and took a big early lead against LMQ, and there were a lot of positive things they did. They held Xiao Xiao to actually 2 blue buffs for the entire 47-minute match as Nidalee. But their momentum did stall, and for the second time this split, they actually underestimated an opponent that started rolling through their base. If we recall all the way back to week 1, the first time they played CLG, they had a similar problem. They were doing Baron as CLG decided to just go for their base, and it was Seraph who interrupted the majority of their recalls. So it's actually the second time EG has gotten their base destroyed while trying to do either an objective or taking other turrets. It's like EG has this great objective focus around blue buffs, as only having 2 blue buffs for Xiao Xiao. but they're not protecting their Nexus, the most important objective of all. So it's a little bit back to basics then. They need to continue to improve their objective control and just keep that in mind and hopefully not let it happen a third time this split.
All right, let's check out the starting lineups. They'll get the chance right now. On the blue side, it's Counter Logic Gaming. Seraph in the top lane, Dexter in the jungle, Link in mid, double lifted AD carry, and Alframu on support.
Yeah, and on the red side, it is Evil Geniuses with Inox in the top lane, Helios, second game in the jungle, Poe Belter in mid lane, Alltech on AD carry, and a Crepo on support.
And if you just saw, as Jat was talking over that replay, those Nexus turrets were falling at 27 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
So it was quite a quick one. CLG got their foot in the door and really did not let EG push them out. So we'll have to see if EG's, like we said, watching Helios here. Is the aggression countered? How's Dexter or the team in general going to handle that aggression?
I know, it's going to be a very interesting matchup here because both these junglers have a lot of international influence, especially on their teams.
Yep.
EG has... Well, right there, Dexter came from Lemon Dogs. He's in the European scene. Seraph was with the Najin organization, and he does communicate a lot with the team. They have Monte Cristo as a coach. He casts the OGN as well as has a lot of experience in North America. These guys are very much international teams, so the types of games they're playing take various influence from pretty much every league at the moment, and it's going to probably lead to some really cool gameplay, especially if EG can keep leveling up with the acquisition of Helios.
I think that's huge, the leveling up part, because they do bring so much in, but then where's that mismatch? Helios was very aggressive yesterday without the follow-up of EG, but then does he tone it down in EG matches, or how do they work that? And we'll see if that kind of chemistry can come to fruition. Jumping into the game now, if they're going to do it at any time, against CLG would be a great test of that chemistry.
Yeah, and even the pick and ban phase is really, really interesting. I'm still fascinated by the way Braum is making his entry into the LCS because I feel like he is so good right now, and if people mastered him, would be 100% red side ban right now. But teams aren't very good at him. So they either don't value him as a ban or hope the other team picks him in hope of not playing that well. We saw a lot of backward shields from Braum yesterday.
Right.
He takes a lot of getting used to and playing with and against him. So not too much priority put on him by either of these teams. I think if it's up for CLG, they'll take it. But I don't know if EG's going to end up throwing a ban out.
Jungle focus onto Helios right off the bat. Also Inox with the Lee Sin pick, so the two birds with one stone there. Really good picks for bans for CLG here.
Actually, right here, if Elise is left up, if Evil Geniuses doesn't ban Elise, it's the first pick for CLG, 100%.
Dexter has voiced that he loves his Elise.
Yeah, and especially yesterday in the North American LCS, we saw so many triple and quadruple jungle ban games. Because honestly, there is such a steep drop-off in jungle after Lee Sin, Evelynn, and Elise that a lot of the teams are, I think, going to do this ban 2, pick the other.
Yeah.
And they don't think Helios has practiced Rengar, who could potentially be the fourth one. And they end up getting the Elise. Evil Geniuses doesn't value that nearly as much as the threat of the LeBlanc, so that's a really interesting choice.
We'll see what Helios has to float on if the Elise does, in fact, get picked up here. Braum does get banned out. And a LeBlanc from Link. Last time these guys played, that LeBlanc was played by Poe Belter, and Link played Kassadin, which he actually has the chance to do again in this matchup.
Kassadin would be great against LeBlanc, but LeBlanc's banned away.
That's right. Yeah.
Kassadin also available, but it's dangerous to pick it blind.
Oh, yeah.
Even though the blind Kassadin pick that was maybe countered by LMQ earlier as Pantheon worked great for Voyboy as they pulled off that tremendous upset win over LMQ, which actually vacates a spot at the top. And wow, I'm very surprised by that Twitch pick, especially considering Alltech's propensity to pick Corki as well. We've seen Corki do very well against Twitch in a lot of matchups. Obviously, Doublelift had that fantastic game yesterday on Twitch, but leaving Elise up with the two jungle mans, Dexter's got something in his pocket. It's got to be a Jarvan.
That's pretty intense. It's only that one Twitch game as well. It's not like consecutive awesome plays on it. Just yesterday against Complexity in the 9-1 and 7.
Or the Vi he played yesterday.
The Vi again, the all-around damage build from this composition. If they bring it again, he went straight for damage and straight deep under the turrets with his assault batteries and vault breakers.
This Vi pick, while it worked for Dexter yesterday, definitely goes against the conventional jungle theory right now across most pro teams. CLG, they are counter logic gaming. They do like to think differently sometimes. Oftentimes it's right, oftentimes it's wrong. If they end up going with the Vi pick here, it's very much trying to mimic the composition they had yesterday. But they are going to be really giving Helios a lot of freedom in the early game because Elise should be able to bully Vi if he catches Dexter anywhere. And we saw yesterday Helios was in the face of LMQ.
It's still something that's kind of boggling my mind. We've heard Dexter say in more than one interview and more than one just free speak to the camera, if Elise is up, I will pick it. And he's gone away from that here. Still deciding around, locks down the Jarvan.
Okay.
Looks like they might have the Morgana as well to deny Crepo, but he already has a Thresh.
The Jarvan makes sense. He can definitely compete as that fourth jungler if you have the hours on him.
Right.
Dexter does. It was his most played champion when he was on Lemon Dogs in the summer split of 2013.
Saw it on the Battle of the Atlantic.
Yeah, he only lost one game on it out of 11 tries when he played it way back then. So he's very, very good at Jarvan. He's actually lost with it once this split, but he's a practice Jarvan for sure.
Gonna be some big plays. Have not seen Jarvan in a while. Looking at his composition, they all seem like they have some pretty squirrely ways to get out of a Jarvan ultimate for right now. So it'll be pick and choose for him to be helping the team, as they say when you're a Jarvan. Looking at last picks, we did call out, you said Altec will be looking at that Corki, gets that in his pocket for himself, so he's going to feel comfortable in the laning phase and into that mid to late game in team fights.
And Crepo's going to be happy with the Thresh. He'll pick Thresh every game if you give him the opportunity to. He just loves the utility it brings to the team, and when you combine it with Elise, it creates a very slippery situation in the bottom lane for picking up ganks.
After we move with that Morg, recently social media good fan gave them a little bit of a wallpaper that shows Afro on his Morg. The black shields, faster than all. And the fast 2 picks have been Italy here for Link coming in, back to the spring split for him. A lot of Italy play coming out recently, with the safe play of Siobhan in the top lane.
So they picked an Italy into whatever Pobelter wants to go with, and that is the very quick lock-in of Twisted Fate by Pobelter. That's what people do against Nidalee. It's actually what CLG did against High's Nidalee in the game that CLG lost, despite being able to pull off some very good mid-game team fights, which is exactly what EG is going to be wanting to do in this one. Twisted Fate, especially against Twitch and Nidalee, kind of twofold. A lot of responsibility on Pobelter to make good teleports in, and he's going to have to choose which person to gold card when he does go in with that. But a very logical pick by Pobelter.
You're going to have a preemptive spear flying through the air that hits you as soon as you hit the ground.
As he's trying to teleport down.
Going to be difficult. The game's about to go live, so let's dig into the ballot box over at LOLesports.com to see who you've been voting for. And that says 85% in the favor of Counterlogic Gaming to get this one rolling.
Damn. You can also share your predictions by tweeting either CLG or EG win to @LOLesports, and we'll be checking back on the fan vote periodically.
So in this last matchup that these teams played, they did actually ban Twitch versus Doublelift, so maybe he was just trying to get his hands on it. Now he gets the chance, but as we said, his last Twitch game was 9-1-7, so I think he's trying to ride that wave into the next one, hopefully.
Yeah, and he actually did the Blade of the Ruined King Ghostblade build in that one, which isn't so much about late-game team fighting, because CLG doesn't go to late game that much anymore. They play faster games than any other team in the North American LCS, and it's all about finding the moment in the game when you hit those items and stopping the other 80 carry from farming, because you can kill them right off the bat.
Like you said, fast games. This last matchup was 29 minutes on the clock. We'll see what CLG can do as they get themselves out of the base here. And a main focus, one, can they shut down Helios' aggression? And does Helios play as aggressive as he did yesterday? Is there kind of a day-to-day change there?
I see no reason why Helios wouldn't continue his aggression. He seems so in the face of LMQ, and he really kept No Name in check in that one. And this time against the Jarvan, it's going to be a very interesting Elise versus Jarvan matchup.
All right, well, we are on to the Rift. The fans fist pumping and ready. Dexter on to Jarvan this game. We'll see how this plays out for him. Definitely, as we said, has many games on Jarvan, so he's looking to put that back to work. See if Link can get his roam game on. Usually, if we see the standard lanes, the mid laners have kind of been stuck.
Yeah.
And because of this big roam in the jungle, and the 80 carries are farming on the outside. Everything's been changing from game to game.
We almost saw a classic ARAM happen in the LMQ versus Curse game when both teams had 4 people in mid lane for a while.
Yep.
I feel like this game will be a little bit different, though, especially with the early mobility of Helios and Dexter. That'll be a bit of a chess match between these two guys.
True line of scrimmage on each side here before both teams kind of close in and start to group up for what could be the buff trades. Even if they do it, looks like they might stay safe here.
I would love to see standard lanes in this game as well. Sure, CLG would Revelet the ability to go 2v2 against Krepo and Altec as well. They're so confident as a duo, Afro and Double Lift. They're very focused around the 2v2 game as well. They very rarely lose that lane.
Both are kind of on the same level. When to go aggressive, when they are beyond their limits, and even then they'll come up with a kill before the situation is over. So kind of turning the worst into a good situation when they need to. Double Lift's CS at 10 is 81 to Altec's 55. Something to keep an eye on as we go through this game.
That was in the last matchup they had, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh, back and forth. Doesn't look like actually EG wants to do too much. A team that's usually known for getting in your face here. Usually a late invade or 1-2 invade to leave your jungle and come back in. This time it's safe.
And no one actually got deep wards at the opening here, which does speak more towards standard lanes. If either team wanted to go top lane, they would have been able to. But just with neither deep ward on these guys, we end up with the standard lanes and no buff trades either.
See how it plays out. Dexter getting no help here, so the level 2 is very much considered between these two lanes here, or the bottom lane, I should say, in these two champions. Double Lift taking a good hit there.
Yeah, Altec won the early trade there against Double Lift with the Phos Bomb. Twitch is very good at level 2, but Corki packs a punch as long as he's landing those Phosphorus Bombs. There's going to be a lot of aggression in that bottom lane.
Ooh, Link getting hit up as well. Very nice job by Pobelter to not push the lane with the wild card.
Double Lift had to burn his flash and his heal right off the back. So Altec and Krepo absolutely doing that. I wonder if Krepo would have landed a hook, but that's definitely an early lane advantage for those guys.
Coming out very big, backing for Double Lift. Seeing the duo lane, the confidence here has kind of gotten CLG into trouble, and Altec, Krepo both hitting level 2 quite quickly, get aggression, start to try and deny. And you can see just how much Alphamu is doing, is saying, keep these minions off the turret.
Yeah, because they were all still at level 1, Krepo actually got Double Lift with a flash flay. So the flash is down on Double Lift and on Krepo, and when they do get back to lane, as long as the experience remains close-ish, the gank presence might end up deciding that game because they burned their summoners without collecting kills.
We'll see what Altec can do on this. He will be backing. 8CS should be able to get picked up here by Double Lift. He picks up a longsword, so nothing to keep him super sustained in lane. Hopefully they don't lose the advantage they somewhat got themselves on that back. Seraph, very dangerous in the top lane. He's just going to draw himself a cocoon and a little denial of experience from EG.
It was a nice ward there by Seraph as well, trying to stay safe, but at least early on, no one is coming to save Seraph, and Helios, I think, is going to spend a lot of time with Inox. Somehow these guys seemingly have pretty good synergy already, Inox and Helios. In the game yesterday, Jax had a huge CS advantage.
Yep.
Wasn't able to turn it into the team victory, but there's definitely a priority towards top lane that Helios is good at getting top laners going. So much time playing with CJ Anta's Blaze as well, doing top lane gank after top lane gank when necessary. It kind of does that.
Oh, and you have the most jungle games out of the OGN.
Most jungle victories in the OGN.
Yeah, or victories, right, thank you. Kind of experienced. Dexter slow rolling through the jungle, as well as Helios. Definitely not showing himself as early as he did last game to get Inox going as hard as he did. We'll see if he still puts a focus up there to one of the carry laners. Like I said, not playing Jax this time on Renekton. But he does have a level advantage right now into Seraph playing that zone game, as Renekton would.
And EG are not bad laners by any stretch of the imagination. Especially this year, they've been pulling some pretty decent lane advantages. It's more the fact that they're not trading objectives optimally. Pobelter, especially with his increased focus on League now that he's done high school, has been a monster in the laning phase in the mid game. And again, Helios has made it into the opponent jungle for a gank.
And already the roam from Pobelter as well. The level 5 coming down. They may be able to finalize something, even if it goes under the turret on this one.
Nice wait!
Great job, Helios, playing the mind games. Double Lift tries to get out. He has nothing. They're making sure they get there before any of the summoner spells are back up and work off it perfectly.
The patience on both sides of that gank really spoke to experience. They knew that Aphromoo would try to black shield the stun when it would come out, but they also knew that Twitch was in stealth. So it was a big mind game about throwing the stun at Afro and blocking it with a black shield or waiting for Twitch, and then that could also potentially be blocked by the black shield. But they all came at the same time. Pobelter was down there on Twisted Fate as well. Even though it was just a red card, it was enough to secure a kill, and they do punish Double Lift for not having a flash.
Also pulling Dexter down. little bit of pressure relief from the map means Inox can have a field day in mid. That gives Pobelter a chance to back as well. Everybody is having a field day on the side of Evil Geniuses.
If Seraph doesn't get help, he's going to get dove here by Inox. Even without the Ignite.
Yeah.
He's got his ultimate.
Just waiting it on, wait for that burnout to go off so he's not taking as much damage once he starts taking turret hits.
Still got his flash,
yeah, this
but
is going to be
TF
rough.
on the way.
Wow, and a chance to just feed Pobelter full on that one. Very well played.
EG is doing fantastic at the start of this game. Pobelter has been all over the map. Nidalee is not the best early laner and is vulnerable to getting shoved in. So while he is keeping his CS adequate with Pobelter, Pobelter's gotten 2 kills generated for EG by going to the bottom lane, hitting level 6, and then going up to the top lane. And because Helios has had so much control over the game, Link hasn't gotten anything back for it, except that 1 ward on the blue buff, which I don't even know if COD's in position to invade.
Right, I figured he was just getting in range a little early to throw an extra spear out, but it doesn't look like he's going to have any ground on that now. Helios privy to the knowledge that Link getting some wards in, so they'll be extra safe at taking this as well in their positioning as the pings go out. And Link's going to try and still get that spear in.
So another good early game start for EG.
Yeah.
With Helios in the jungle. And even though he just has that 1 assist, I do want to...
Close.
Nice little attempt, but no dice. I do want to call attention to the amount of time Helios has spent in enemy territory. So just coming from the different angles and sneaking past the CLG wards applies so much pressure to the rest of CLG because they're the ones that are now tasked with trying to come back onto Helios, and it stops them from being able to lane aggressively, most importantly.
You can see him already laying pink wards down defensively, knowing that Helios is taking paths through their jungle, trying to gain that control back. Link now on his own blue buff, not even getting help from Dexter in the bottom lane. Everybody's kind of split because they're all trying to do and get experience for themselves after a slow start to the game for CLG.
Dexter spent most of levels 1 through 6 powering up. So he's going to have his level 6. He still needs a fair bit of gold, about 400 more before he can complete his Lizard Elder. No boots yet. So really, they're at the mercy of what EG is doing right now.
Flashes, but hits the bind and gets himself in range. They can't connect with any more. Everything just happening at the last second there. Good out on both
Binding
sides.
the target as he's trying to lantern in, but this time Pobelter left mid lane and Dexter is on the rotate, so he's going to be trying to push down the turret as quickly as possible.
So be good as well with Link, getting some primal surges out for some extra auto attack speed, and they are safe. So Dexter in the right spot there, soaking up some experience as well for his time in the mid lane. And he's going to be back. He looks like he's got the gold he needs and can start making an impact for this team. We haven't even seen, or we haven't because it's standard, but the Dragon about to come up soon.
Yeah, no 3-minute Dragon because there were the standard lanes.
Yep.
So none of the Dragons were uncontested. And Dexter on the run. Remember, no boots on him right now. Still no Lizard Elder. And it is once again Helios on the move and Seraph under his turret. 3-man gank incoming, but can CLG defend him?
There, burnout's off. Can't really get the AoE damage to the rest of the team. The gold card comes in. Oh, there's the heal as well. Primal Surge coming in from Link. He senses this happening as well as the pink wards in the jungle to keep everybody's knowledge up of EG's movements, and they start to finally stop something EG creates.
Yeah, they had the ward coverage that time in their own jungle. That pink ward that just got pinged by CLG was a big difference maker for that one. It also told them to get rid of that extra ward. So that's why the ping was there. But it was CLG actually reacting to EG right there. Still a Twisted Fate ultimate up though, so Pobelter can shove out Link again. The danger is real for CLG.
It looks a little bit different in that mid lane. That was Link under his turret. Now they're going to be able to trade pretty even damage, but the heals easily keeping Link up in that lane. 10 minutes in. Got our CS for Double Lift and Altec. Like I said last time in this game, that was 81 to 55. Altec has evened this one out, 79 to 70.
A lot of it has to do with the early presence in the lane by Crepo and Altec, right?
Yeah.
The flash flay that he did at level 1 to burn the summoner spells, and then the repetition by Helios was just too much for CLG to deal with.
Looks like they want to get something out of this. EG feels like they can formulate a dragon plot. It's like they're doing good, but yeah, they're getting pinched both sides.
If they get hit by a couple spears, they're going to be in big trouble.
Oh, no Spiderlings to take that one. Looks like they may get Dragon, but they may not get out with their lives on this time. Oh, what a nice teleport to for Vision, and then he can just link into the Dragon. Very cheeky.
Yeah, and there was no potential counter teleport because Seraph had to use it to get back in lane. On top of the Lantern as well, the mean he could come into the Dragon Pit. He probably didn't want to burn that teleport, but because CLG pressured the Dragon
they felt
so
it.
hastily, they felt they needed to for the secure. Again,
Dragon.
a good move by EG. This is a 2,000 gold lead early on in the game against CLG.
And Renekton, not the slowest mover. Inox is able to make himself right his way back to the top lane, and he'll be able to get all or most of that experience. Good job by Seraph to crash it into the turret. The lockdown flashes up for Pobelter. He's biding his time here for Cataclysm to fall. Flashes in the end and then catches the spear as he goes beyond the turret.
Pobelter tried to not have to flash away from that. That's
He
how
was
confident
thinking.
he was that the CLG damage wasn't going to be enough, but he ended up taking a spear afterwards, which could be the death of his turret. CLG trying hard to finish that one off.
Yep. Be able to get a heal in here, but not enough. No minions there. It's going to make it a little more difficult to be taking that guy down. 2,000 gold in the favor of EG, and they're slowly working this one. With the gold lead, they are trying to pressure small things because they know they have the lead. No reason to put yourself in a bad position right now.
Yeah, EG's composition is all about laning right now. So they're doing that pretty well, and Pobelter's trying to supplement this top and bottom lane really heavily, but considering the amount that Pobelter's roamed, if CLG doesn't make that mid-turret fall, it is a complete failure on their part. It has to fall early if CLG wants to get control back in this game.
Inox still trying to be bullying the top lane. Tiamat finished up for him before he starts getting into his armor phase, or maybe he feels like he's enough ahead to keep controlling that lane. 30 CS in the lead for him. It's really the only lane with a discrepancy right now. They've been putting a little bit of focus on Seraph, and a lot of teams do.
A lot of teams decide to focus Seraph, and EG is no different in this sense. Inox able to take the turret, and now probably going to try and burn the ultimate off of Seraph as well.
Get a nice W stun in. It doesn't look like it'll be up in time. Dominus shredding about HP out, but Seraph will be safe. Hello.
Right in the face of Dexter.
Helios says, this is mine. Dexter is in there by himself. He actually cues it, flashes over the wall. That gets traded over to Altac, who now with the blue buff is going to be having a grand old time. And Link splits just enough. Oh, the flay hits both Link and Aframu. Remember that Altac has the blue so he can fire out rockets, but there's no need to chase. They just gain full control of the middle of the map.
Yikes, everything CLG is doing is not working right now, aside from the odd spear that sneaks through the minion line. But EG, with so much presence on the map right now, doing work early game.
Getting the wards out. They also have the breadcrumb wards to get out of this safely with vision if they need it. They will not be pinched from either side. Really thinking about everything as they give themselves a 4,000 gold lead on this. And we haven't even seen Inox really leave the top lane except for the teleport he wasn't used for. So they're all doing this as a four-man squad, really.
Yeah, and that's not to say they haven't spent a lot of time in the top lane with Inox as well.
Right.
It's just been kind of across the map pressure early on CLG. One thing we do have to point out, though, is Doublelift's CS, despite the early pressure that was put up against him in lane, is still higher than what Altac has achieved. So gold-wise, it's not the same because Altac's picked up 2 kills. But Twitch absolutely scales better than Porky. CLG might actually be needing to take this one a little bit more into the late game. I really do wonder if Doublelift's going to do the Ghostblade build once again, because that's more of a Twitch build typically for trying to jump ahead in the game, and I don't know if he's going to reach a power level where he can actually take Altac 1v1. If he can, though, it will be good for turning around the game. It's just a risky maneuver if Doublelift goes for it.
Well, it'll be an awesome composition, like you said, if it happens. Having the Cataclysm lock everyone up and already a bit of shred there, you just rat-a-tat right through. Again, the 1v1 Noodle fight in the top lane. Looks like Inox Noodle. He didn't really hit it soft enough. It's hard. He's doing damage right now to Seraph.
That Tiamat early is really wrecking Seraph. Seraph had to go full defense with that Chain Vest early. He's Tank Shyvana. It's a pretty common build, but definitely struggling in that way.
Missing. Trying to steal everything they can from each other. A little tit-for-tat fight. Minute and 40 left on the Dragon. Last time this Dragon came around, we saw Pobelter just gold card and incessantly hit Link with abilities. I don't think he's going to get the chance that time. Link's firing out spears, blue buff in hand, and Pobelter's actually focused himself. Sork boots very fast as well in that build, so he's just going for all the damage he can right now.
With the distortion upgrade early as well, definitely wanting his summoner spells to be a little bit empowered and coming back on shorter cooldowns.
Against that Jarvan, it'll help.
Rather important. Yeah. Something that actually happened to Distortion, but you don't see them purchase very often, but they've been changed since they entered the game. When he ghosts, he actually gets 40% movement speed instead of 27% right now, so a very fast TF. And when he flashes, he's going to get 20% movement speed after the flash. So those distortion boots not only reducing the cooldown of all those summoner spells by 20%, also giving those bonus effects.
Alltech getting it. Wow. Doublelift already doing quite a bit of damage. That's just a Blade of the Rune King. He really didn't put too much venom.
Use the active.
Yeah. Oh, coming down. This is what EG has been doing, but the wards now that CLG places allows them to start counteracting this. Aframu walks right to the front. Black Shield is down, but there's Dexter as well. Holding onto the Cataclysm, waits for a nice shot. Doublelift is just on the backside. Rat-a-tat-tat's already going out.
Big move.
He is making some hits right now. Dexter trying to still get into range to lock somebody down. He knows the Inox can just slice and dice out, but he doesn't. He is stuck now in that, waiting very patiently. CLG gets everything they want out of that with 3 kills.
That is exactly the turnaround that CLG needed for this one. They caught EG while EG was trying to come in from behind CLG once again, but this time there were a few very critical differences. Alltech had been very low from the Twitch open, and also the spear that landed previously on a Pobelter made this a bad initiation right off the bat. Yes, they got damage on Aframu, but they didn't stop any of his spells. He still had the ultimate off, and they just burned a bunch of damage. The teleports cancel each other, but the spears and the previous poke were already there. Look at Pobelter and Alltech. They couldn't be part of the fight.
Oh, very nice Black Shield on the end. Spear is eaten. That's card should wear out in time. And the gold lead has just been nullified. 25-5 to 25.2.
And this is also where the CS of Doublelift comes into effect. He's at 6,000 gold, so is Alltech. So he is absolutely going to be outscaling him at this point. And the CLG team does have a better team fight composition. EG's composition is more about finding picks with Twisted Fate and Elise Cocoons. The fact that they trapped EG into a poor 5v5 fight was absolutely perfect for CLG. Getting the Dragon afterwards means they pulled ahead in the game, and it means Doublelift's Ghost Blade plus Blade of the Ruin King build on Twitch is going to be really potent at disrupting Alltech's farming capabilities.
A lot of synergy between this team. The traps are going to be shredding. Dexter is going to be shredding with Jarvan, and Doublelift with his Ghost Blade build. Everything kind of plays together once they get EG balled up in the fight. 2-0 as we said for Alltech. Usually can play quite well if they keep themselves on the outside. They still have the poke of Pobelter's wild cards as well. Might be able to find themselves some fights they need. Helios, a little aggressive once again. Is the team there to react though? Shield goes down, and they might have pulled Dexter into exactly what they wanted. Very nicely done. The repel goes up. He took that Cataclysm damage, but they cannot finalize a kill back for EG, or CLG.
And also notice how EG bursted through the Black Shield before Pobelter threw his gold card to guarantee that they could get the stun on a Dexter. So a very nice kill in the mid lane.
Pink wards coming out of the hands of Alltech and Crepo. You see Link getting in a little close as he tries to put more pressure on with spears. Great wards coming through. They know exactly what CLG is up to right now.
Now this is a really good game. Top lane as well is beginning to equalize, or already has, which is incredible considering all of the attention that EG put into disrupting Seraph and beating him up. He gets in one team fight, brings it all back with a great Siobhan ultimate to give himself a kill and 2 assists. And because of the time they both spent down there, the CS is neutralized a little bit as well. So Siobhan is also at the point of the game now at level 12, where she's outscaling Renekton as well.
It's going to get tougher and tougher. CLG loves to play for this portion of the game. Now they can start to control it. They move wherever they want. Doublelift is right there as Seraph used as the catalyst to get this fight going, and it's going to be the quick takedown. Doublelift starts to get himself kills around the map, and that's exactly what CLG is looking for.
Nice move right there, and you can really see CLG is starting to play much better as a team with the acquisition of Seraph.
Yep.
Yesterday, when he was laning against Westrice, it was a very even lane, but then not only did Dexter come up for Vi ganks, Link came up from mid lane for ganks, and today Doublelift comes up and helps out Seraph with ganks. Everyone is pitching in to help get him rolling a little bit, and it's working wonderfully.
Clear calls, good games.
Clear calls, good plays.
Good plays, that's right, not good games. They got it. Still pushing up in that top lane. It's going to be a little bit of gold picked up by Pobelter here in the bottom, but he is only answering, and if anything, they're far behind as they answer right now. 32,000 to 30,000. They may be able to answer on to number 2 with the pressure of Alltech as well. With Crepo in the jungle, a great grab onto Link to kind of thwart things.
the grab's going to confuse him a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there was absolutely no follow-up. He'd be like, oh yeah, there is a Thresh around that wall. Time to push mid, because now he can't make it back in time. Link also trying to cut them off with spears. Great move there by CLG. Nice map movement.
This is all up to Inox, and he has not thrown out a huge amount of wave clear for the team. You can see EG scrambling to get back in order. Nice job, just a little harass from the Wolves coming around. Crepo over the wall. He will be able to link from over the wall as well, but he misses that one. Not really that much vision around the corners. And EG is definitely not coming out on the better for this one. Those spears from Link are hitting and hurting quite bad, even with just Nathan's out.
Italy spears end up poking, especially with the blue buff onto Link right now. The sustain is great. This is a CLG siege that EG is going to have trouble responding to.
CLG siege that also looks like if they want, they can keep on going past the turret. Right now, playing it safe. Dexter had no problem going past these turrets yesterday.
Yeah, and EG needs to have full health before they can pull off an initiation. Pobelter also kind of needs his Zhonya's, which he doesn't have at the moment. Ideally, he'd want to be able to teleport into the back, shut down Link as EG dives in, but Crepo's low right now. There's no Zhonya's on Pobelter, so they can't actually stop this siege very efficiently. If they do fight, it will be a very high-risk maneuver. But a hook on a Twitch!
A good grab, double lift a little too close. He gets himself out perfectly. They're all standing in line for the rat-a-tat-tat, and they quickly disperse from that, realizing the damage is just crushing them down. Double lift, after firing off a few more, finds a kill onto Helios. And that's exactly what they wanted. EG is now a little too hurt to probably protect this next wave.
Even with the hook onto Twitch, double lift doesn't take
they back up.
a lick of damage.
Nope.
And that just went to show you how difficult it would be for EG to actually start on that. Yes, they get the hook, but the Black Shield arrived immediately after to stop subsequent crowd control to go back. The flash was burned, and they end up getting a kill.
More of that hook, and how close.
Where was the Black Shield? They get the play, the flash, and then he's Black Shielded. So basically, because his flash was up, it just grouped up EG for the rat-a-tat, one would say.
Man, must look good in his eyes. Ghostblade is now finished up for him, as it looks like he's going for a Zeal next. Decide to put that into maybe a Phantom Dancer or himself. Link
Yeah,
on
yesterday
Italy.
he did Static Shiv.
That's right, Static Shiv as well.
He tries to get as much damage right off the bat.
Ah, so you get the proc.
And we also have 2 pink wards, so oftentimes getting a second opinion on something is very useful. Not with pink wards.
$300 area right there. Hope it's worth it. Boom.
Cute.
Now it's worth it.
Yeah. Still would have wished to save that second pink ward. EG controls that dragon while Seraph was off in the top lane, and CLG, the rest of their team, had just shopped, so nice general move by EG there. But they're still looking rather inadequate in team fights, just based off the power of double lift at the moment, the poke potential of Link. The fact that Pobelter has completed his Zhonya's Hourglass will equalize his team fights a little bit. He could theoretically get on a Twitch at the right moment, but the upfront damage from that Twitch build is so catastrophic. If Alphaman wants to clean those pink wards, he's going to be in there for a while. All right. Come on, guys.
Nobody's got the guts to do it. He says, I'll get this one first.
Well, they had to get the one in the
There's
pit.
one.
All right, how long is it going to take? We're at 22 seconds right now. They're afraid of taking
think it's the biggest trap in the world right now.
And the blue buff is stolen.
Oh, man. Oh, no! Good. He just finished the Zhonya's, actually. That is super helpful in the situation of death. Dexter is going to be getting the clear on Wraiths, making sure everything is safe on that side. So he can pretty much tell the team is soaking up everything there. They're probably all hovering top side. So if we need to escape, let's go down towards Seraph.
Yeah, time to group up as a team right now. They have generally good control of the waves. Inox isn't split pushing in any way, shape, or form. And they can set up a 5-5 siege. As soon as Aphromu's done with this. Well, currently Morgana has 0.71 attack per second.
You need to take a breather. The first 5 shots were just exhausting.
So it takes roughly 15 seconds for him to clear it all. There we go.
That was intense there at the last second. I thought the ward was going to heal up or something.
As you can see, CLG pulling a mid-game advantage back in this one. You can see from that sweet gold graph, they were down about 4,000 at 14 minutes, but now hold that 1,000 gold lead.
This is such a great game across all lanes. 196, 198. I'm not going to go all the way through them, but just seeing that. Dexter, however, the early part of the game, you can see he was CSing quite hard, and he had to make up for death in a few lanes, so he picked up a little more than Helios. He's been diving right into the fights.
But now he's got that Lock it there on Solari.
Yep.
Really big, especially surprisingly against Corki missiles, which do a huge amount of magic damage. Having that magic damage aura, and specifically the active on the locket, if the big one tries to execute someone, it's really clutch to have it in those situations.
If you use it.
Dexter will use
Got to remember to hit it. I'm just kidding. I hope. Lizard Elder for him is that, yeah, Locket becomes his second item in fear of all the damage that they're going to be getting from Magic and the Rockets. Negatron Cloak on Seraph as well with the Giant's Belt. Kind of the same thing over on Inox too. They're doing a piece together of some big items to get the recipe mitigation that they want.
Time to set up a siege as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see they're sweeping out the spots where Link wants to throw spears from. And if they land that one binding, it's going to be a whole bunch of damage.
Ooh, wow, Dexter taking a lot of hits there. You can see where the armor is not there yet for him, and he is down to about 20% HP. A good Primal Surge from Link puts him back to health, so it won't take long. Double lift, putting himself up front. That a little scary.
He wants to get the open.
It's all right if he takes a few hits. He can always heal up. He's got that life steal.
Yeah, with the Zanyas on Pobelter, I wouldn't be too surprised if EG tries to go for initiation. You could see Helios was around the side trying to get a ward control because he wants to be able to follow up on whatever type of gold card initiation Pobelter makes. But CLG is warded very adequately around this side to stop that flank initiation, wanting it so only Pobelter can go in and to prevent the follow-up.
Both teams really considering the amount of power that's going to come out of this next fight. Both teams, if they are the first to dictate that power, could come out with a win. The hook being down, a little bit of a relaxed situation for CLG. Having that hook up is more of a danger. They don't have the minion wave to really do anything. This is just such a stalemate, the second tier turret.
And the opportunity cost of EG being here is much higher because they have far fewer things to play with here. They have the hook and the cocoon from Helios, whereas Link gets a very low cooldown Nidalee Spear, which if he lands on anyone other than Inox, is basically a one-shot turret for them the right way. Or if a binding lands, that also helps the spear land. And once Krepo's death sentence is down, there's not much EG has left to do.
Yeah. You're getting healed up all the time from Link. Those shots going on to Inox, we see they're sticking. He's just waiting for that health to come back naturally. Siege Wave coming in on this one may provide a little bit of time to get some shots on the turret.
There's the spear.
That's one that they needed. That's a dive in. That's Helios repelling into the fighter, getting a good cocoon and Q in. So he is no longer present now. They have good wards coming out, but they're not able to get anything out of CLG. This is all to just stop damage on the turret, which is not working out. More and more damage peppered in.
And also, Rib, when we consider that CLG scales better late game, EG is in a really difficult situation right now because they're getting equal amounts of farm, but the game is getting later and later. And CLG trying to catch them in transit between two turrets, knowing they've gotten rid of a lot of EG resources already.
This one a little bit harder to guard. We'll see what Krepo and team can do here. Getting about 21 gold on that one. Not going to be enough for them to stop the turret from going down. So CLG trying to change in the motion of things. They needed to get something, and they didn't need it, but they wanted to get something. It was a little too slow for them.
Yeah, CLG, a team that's been playing very fast games, needs to take this one slow and steady because the game is still very close, and one mistake could mean a swing back in momentum. So they're being very cautious with these turret sieges and making sure to play the disengage game. Very much respecting Pobelter's.
And look at EG here. They feel like they can move instantly with that suffocation pressure taken off, but this does not look good, Jack. Coming in from the side, they could just get hit.
CLG would like a nice team fight, and they're trying to cut EG off from it.
That minion wave in the top lane did quite a lot playing off the ball. It's like the sixth man here taking the top turret for the team. EG's going to come in, clean that one up. Pobelter kill steal on the turret from caster minion.
Both these teams are playing very together as well. So that was a very clean move by EG, and they did a nice sweep right here. This runs the risk of double lift sneaking in. They don't have...
Krepo, you got big hips!
Uh-oh, Pobelter gets caught as well!
Oh god, Pobelter dodging out the spear. That's exactly what they needed. Nobody following in on Dexter. They were waiting for that focus out of the Zanyas. Pobelter with a great flash, throws on Ghost, gives himself a bit of movement and mobility in the fight. Seraph, the spear almost coming over his shoulder and finishing out Pobelter. They're getting a little dragged into the pocket here that Krepo talks about. When they disengage is when you feel comfortable to go back in, and they feel comfortable. Now on to Seraph, and EG walks this one out to get the fight they want. Over the wall, Krepo comes up huge. Link is completely out of mana, so he tries to stay in Cougar form to get out, but it's no use.
What a fight for EG right there. Doublelift could never get proper position for the ambush, and EG played the ward game perfectly right there. They knew there was low coverage because of the duration of the previous CLG siege. So that was a great time to lay and wait for CLG to come through, and they barely won out on that fight. They're all too low to actually go and get an objective.
Would have been a great time with Nidalee being down as well, but too much on the low HP end of things. And we're going to see this one more time. What a chaotic fight.
Yeah, once again, the Zhonya's being huge, and Dexter gets baited into a fight. Seraph and Dexter couldn't go in together, and then Seraph couldn't make it in with the Dragon's descent right there. And notice how Doublelift was low on mana, could never really find the position. His short amount of opening nearly cleaned EG out, but he was pushed back in the fight by the zone control of Kobelter. And yes, Bindings landed, yes, the Spears landed, almost took him out, but it wasn't quite enough. And it was tit for tat. One hook for another spear. Kreppa with a great max range shot.
Lord.
As the blue buff was spawning, by the way, so we had a millisecond to get that one in. They're able to close out for a double kill. What a close fight and close game.
So back and forth, 200 gold, not even, as 600 and 700 are ticking on both sides of EG and CLG, so they are very close to each other. A lot of finalized items are bringing everybody to their peak fighting position, and right now EG is able to come out with the plays and map control so far on CLG. 4 turrets to 5, and EG has been able to gain map control back somehow. What an odd game, but what an awesome game.
Momentum swinging back and forth. Really, EG, even though they haven't picked up a win with Helios yet, is looking very strong with such an experienced jungler right here. Also,
a lot more coordinated
early
on the
game presence
initiation.
he's been able to bring as well. 0-2-5, low CS, but EG definitely looking good so far. And something that I also have to point out about the supports. Aftermill and Kreppa. Never mind. All right, we can still point out. The Mikhail's Crucible on both these guys.
Yeah.
This game is so much about who catches who when. But the first catch might actually not matter because the Mikhails can always come in. As Doublelift goes for Dragon on a ward, EG gets to bait for positioning. Once again, they do not get the hook.
Just missing, looking to trade back some Baron damage. Seraph, the wall right now for CLG.
And that was a costly bait. That's about 1,500 gold Dragon just gave CLG as a whole, plus the turret that Doublelift was able to take. So a really good game of chicken that CLG is playing right now, pulling themselves ahead in the gold lead with objectives.
Seems like they're winning that portion of it. Can they position themselves now for the rest of it? EG, they actually give EG the center of their base back. Very smart move. CLG wants to come into this coordinated, also waiting on probably a Void Staff here for Nidalee. Link's going to be doing some big damage soon because, yeah, there is a bit of magic resistance on the side of EG, but Altec can still be taken down quite quick with Kreppa. Doublelift farming it up. He actually has curbed himself. He was going quite hard on trying to initiate by himself earlier, but this is a different game from Doublelift. He kind of knows he's the backline carry of this game.
Yeah, he's trying to transition into the late game Twitch right now. Wonder if he's going to go Infinity Edge or Last Whisper next. That answers our question.
Boom.
Relying on the flat penetration of the Ghost Blade. It's going to make it a little difficult for him to shoot through the Renekton, but he should be alright since Helios hasn't been able to pick up armor.
You can see the war of vision control now to be waged. The battle to end at the Nexus is who's going to be the first one to take down the Baron. We're 34 minutes in, so it's definitely a possibility, but EG would be crazy to try that right now with Link full HP, mana, and blue buff ticking on him. So it looks like it's going to be the mid lane tango. Back to it.
And again, CLG seems to have assumed a bit of control throughout this. They do have the superior scaling composition, but Altec is also very powerful right now on Corki. It's going to be all about the catches, and all about who can get control of the waves. Remember, the last fight EG won was actually because they moved all the way down to the bottom of the top lane and picked up a turret and then baited while there was no wards for CLG. But this time, CLG has spent a substantial amount of time and has much better ward vision across the Baron area, and they're trying to take this with a couple men, whereas EG is fighting for vision control.
Oh, teleport coming in. Looks like they'll be safe. Inox, it's not the first time he's used a TP to Lantern to get himself to safety.
That Lantern was really close to timing out as well. It's unfortunate if Inox got trapped in there, but TPing on top of Lantern is a safe objective focus. They needed that to get the wave going in the right direction in the bottom lane. But it burns their teleport, meaning Seraph could actually go play the same game if he wants.
Yep. So back to the Baron. In honor of the World Cup, we'll call it the Baron Samba this week around instead of the Baron Dance. Absolutely. We'll see what they can do if they can dance their way in. 35 minutes on.
From Jarvan as well. EG's going to be very careful not to be catching spears.
Where's Helios? Eyes on him just on the outside. Couldn't get his Spiderling to catch that. A flash! And the hook actually blowing the flash for Link off the screen.
Yeah, trading the flashes, initiation down and some disengage down on both sides. The Baron was also peeled off of. But the Samba continues down the mid lane.
Going round 2. This is actually good for EG. They get themselves into a position where they can get some pop shots on the turret. The teleport comes in, but was it too early?
There's no Twitch here yet.
And no, it's not. Double lift is still coming around the side. It's a perfect place to rat-a-tat-tat, but it's also a perfect place to get focused on. Pobelter's going to come out and drop instantly. The triple kill right across the board. Is it going to be a double lift penta? It doesn't look like he can get in range, but the health bars, they are ready for him to be taken down.
What a bunch of damage Double Lift just did to EG. That was the perfect Twitch open that people dream of when they pick Twitch and build Ghostblade at that point.
Just opened his eyes or closed them.
Seconds to go in.
Here it is again.
It was a really smart initiation by EG to go in because with the TF ult, they could see where Twitch was. But at this moment right now, they have to get out of there. They still see him when he's coming in stealth, so they should have known that it was coming at that point. The Cataclysm traps him in with the spray and pray or the rat-a-tat, depending on how you like to call it. It gives him a triple kill and a Baron.
4, 0, and 3 for Altac, but a 6, 1, and 2 double lift just takes off. He's still 40 CS behind, but he's making the kills count. Baron now on to double lift, and the rest of his team, as we saw previously, taken. So those stats are filling up their pockets with a little bit of gold. 8 to 8 is the kill score. It seems a lot bloodier than that, but the teams have matched in kills. It's going to be a 5,000 gold lead right now for CLG with 6 turrets to 4. And the map control, it's still going back and forth. That was on EG's kind of over pressure. So we'll see if EG or CLG now can answer back.
These teams have really been matching each other strategically as well. And it's a difficult game for EG because they're still trying to recover from that LMQ defeat where they had such a big lead, couldn't make an initiation happen. They reviewed the game with their analysts. They found some things they could improve upon. And this game, it's kind of happening again. They're actually not ahead in this game as much as they were in the previous one, but their late game decision-making is still a little bit rough. And this is one of the most difficult weeks for Helios to begin his LCS career because EG is playing CLG and LMQ, 2 of the teams in the top 3 of the LCS standings, as a bottom-of-the-table team. So to expect immediate victory is asking a little much out of EG and Helios, but they've been really close. I think closer than most people even expected them to be.
Ooh,
that's the bad.
That was a very big spear. The cocoon is really all that Helios can offer here. Krepo could be in a very tight situation. There's the binding. There's the last spear necessary. And CLG is getting everything they want. Could be a final push.
And Dexter saved his Cataclysm, so it's 5 people with Baron right now, or 4 because Link was dead when it went off, and they're just going to be pushing this real strong. But Altec trying to do a bait.
Look at Altec on the other side. He's going hard on Corki.
We've seen this story before, Riv. It doesn't end well for EG.
He's going to try to back. EG goes into 2 base races in a row, now tempting a 5-man CLG team. Altec actually denies getting hit by a minion there somehow, makes it back to the team. They lose a Nexus turret, but are still alive to tell the story. Dexter keeps getting locked up one after the other. They finally throw a black shield to him for a bone. And it looks like he's going to be able to get out safely. But there's double lift on the front line again. And they say, no, 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 no. Let's get out. And he actually listens.
Well, he's a very powerful Twitch right now.
He probably could have done some work.
All right, let's consider what just happened. EG had already lost Krepo. So defending that Nexus turret or even inhibitor was not going to happen. And now they're actually going to try and trade inhibitors. If they can do this successfully, it's a great move by EG because everyone has respawned at this point, and the move by Altec was very smart. 1 Nexus turret is not the end of the world. You have to be defending that anyway, as long as they can make it back without getting picked off.
Back from Pobelter here. Does he run it out? Does he run it out and EG kind of gains positioning to cut them off? We see him rushing out of the mid lane here. And maybe try to cut something off. A good bushwhack in the mid lane is going to be dodged out. Maybe the minions will catch it, but CLG is already in safe position here. EG actually slowed down their momentum out of base. Twin Shadows finished up for Afromu. Just that much more to keep these fights going in their favor and stop evil geniuses from getting away. Off the chart. There it goes. Can't do much about that. See the gold lead throughout the game, and it's fluctuated quite a bit. Very back and forth. It's finally a very definitive 6,000 gold lead, however, in favor of, I guess, 5K around. As CLG makes their way to the front door, second inhibitor turn.
Yeah, very difficult siege defense, especially because they're going to have super minions coming up from the side. The Baron on CLG also has just expired. So if EG could find an initiation, it's going to be when the clear is off. Check it out. Double screen! I'm very confused right now, personally. EG, though, defending this quite well.
Double the game, double the awesome. We have almost a Dark Binding hitting there. The Cocoons! Oh, wait! That's the consecutive.
He's a very
crowd
tanky man, and
control.
the one Nidalee heal you could see just got rid of all that poke, which is why this defense is so difficult for EG. They don't get to heal up if a Nidalee Spear lands, whereas if any poke lands from EG, CLG gets a second chance.
Every time they see Doublelift, he gets a bunch of shields and a bunch of heals because he takes some early damage. There's a flag toss in onto Enox just cuz. Oh my, Doublelift! That's not the damage you want to be taking.
He actually ends up popping his ultimate, so that's the end of that siege. They cannot do that anymore, giving more time for EG to defend the inhibitor. So Doublelift trying to siege up the turret on Twitch. Not an easy thing. He's one of the worst turret killers as far as AD carries are concerned. No dash ability if he is to get closed on. So when he gets close, he risks taking the type of damage we saw there.
Stretching it quite far for both teams here. Not really that close to full items, but it is for Doublelift. He's got that Infinity Edge finish, just the Doran's Blade to sell out. Right now sitting on quite a bit of gold. 2,100 is in his pocket, so he's waiting to go back here. A lot of power into these fights, or safety, if he even wants it. He hasn't really been dying.
I hope he builds a Last Whisper on Twitch, actually. It would stack his armor penetration quite well, because the way armor penetration works is it uses the percentage armor penetration and then the flat armor penetration. And considering how much damage he's doing on Twitch right now, he would be pretty much max damage Twitch at this point. So 5 offensive items. We saw how quickly he wrecked EG previously.
Right.
It's going to be even faster now. A couple shots and you can kill the whole team.
It's been a different game for Doublelift as well. I'm sure he wants to be off in a solo lane farming, but sticking with the team has actually provided him with a good amount of kills. Even if he comes in a little late, sprays and prays 3 away. But still, 394 to 312, but still putting out more power than Altec right now because of how the team is working together.
Yeah, and we've reached that point where Altec's gotten outskilled by Twitch, for sure. Altec is still a formidable person to deal with, but especially in cutting through someone like Seraph, who's an incredibly tanky Shyvana right now for the front line. He can't shoot past that very well with his missiles, whereas Twitch gets to shoot through people.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Delivering the pain on all levels when you're coming out of that invisibility. Everything they can do from the longest range is what EG is using right now. They do not want to step past that turret. It is danger.
And Twisted Fate is very hard to push on because he can clear the minion waves so quickly. Is what CLG is kind of running into here. This is probably about the 10th minute they've been in this mid lane trying to siege something down. They're just hoping they can land enough spears, or that EG gets tired of getting worn down and goes in. Ghost Blade by Doublelift, burning everything for this turret.
It's going to be the inhibitor going down. They're going to have minion waves pouring into the bottom lane in just a few seconds. It looks like it will be thwarted off. So 2 inhibitors open now to work with. They're really going to be stretching EG thin here.
Doublelift popped a lot of his threat at that point, so if he could heal up quick enough, but he got enough poke onto Altec that he had to back up entirely, so I guess that's kind of rewriting the book on how to siege his Twitch. Just blow everything and kill the turret.
Baron is up. See if CLG heads straight for that. Looks like they're making a beeline for it somewhat. Going to set up some vision around this as Seraph takes bottom lane control. Teleport is up for him. See how EG works it.
Yeah, COG scared a little bit back because of their exposed inhibitor. They need to defend it from EG.
Very different game than the first 2 times these teams matched up. A 25-minute win, 29-minute run, sorry, for CLG. Now a 45-minute game altogether. Changes on both sides of the pond here for EG and CLG have definitely affected the gameplay. Closing out the game for EG kind of seems to be the revolving aspect here. CLG really off and on the consistency of just how controlled the game is.
Does EG not see that ward? The pink ward placed a little bit too deep for EG. And here come the spooky ghosts!
Oh, and it's Altec. Valkyrie, almost the best person there. Aftermove flashes over, but still gets hit. Looks like he will be safe for that situation.
They got them low enough, though, that they can probably just Baron if they see fit to. pretty much indefensible by EG.
Wow. Inox doing what he can in the bottom lane to create pressure he can hopefully use at some point, but CLG is ready to go right through the front door. This may be just a last-ditch effort to get somebody to follow him.
They're going to hope to get this turret down before CLG can make it to the second exposed inhibitor, but I don't even know if EG had 5 people at that inhibitor, if they could realistically defend it with no turret, knowing that CLG has Baron and that Twitch. EG just hasn't been able to pull off any successful flanks with the pole belt or Twisted Fate. The whole idea of him getting on a Twitch just hasn't been realistic. Doublelift, he's real threatening right now.
There's a little pain there, has to walk back. Helios is left alone, and there's really nothing for him to jump to. Goes down, they even make sure of it with the flag toss. Helios down for 60 seconds as Inox backs to the base now, 5v4.
And only one Nexus turret. CLG might try to end this game within the next 50 seconds. Doublelift didn't have to burn his ultimate on that one, so this will be painful for EG.
One more inhibitor turret down. They're not even going to get minions out of that one. They're just making sure if anything goes awry here, they'll have the upper hand. The teleport coming in on the super minion so they can get some more pressure under the turret. That's going to be Inox now, cataclysmed on. Pobelter tries to throw himself deep into the fight. Nobody can finish that one. He's going to go down after the Zanyas, and it's going to be the Nexus turrets as well. A hell of a game from both teams coming out. 12-8, the final score at 47 minutes. CLG tries to pad the stats a little bit more with this kill onto Ultec. Doublelift shut down 8, 1, and 4. 47 minutes in, CLG takes down Evil Geniuses.
And you said it there, 47 minutes. Slow and steady did win the race that time for CLG, but that's not really how they've been picking up their wins this season. EG did a pretty good job of sticking with them throughout the moves, but CLG had the better late game composition the entire time, knew their path to victory and their win conditions, and they executed.
Really nothing else was done to kind of counteract Helios. And Helios didn't play as aggressive this game. We focused on what Dexter, the team, might do. They played their game. They kind of focused the top lane a bit. Gave Seraph a little bit more help this time. Instead of just leaving him with a here nor there.
And despite Doublelift getting focused a little bit at the start of the game, still came up big late. No defensive items on Twitch, but his first death was his last. 8-1-4. 0010 for Aframu as well on the support scale. Those two continuing to really carry games for CLG. But the team definitely coming together a little bit. It's been a easier week on the scheduling front for CLG, obviously. Playing 2 of the bottom 3 teams in the LCS this week, but the 2-0 week positions them strongly in the standings. And CLG's got to be feeling good about that moving into next week.
Absolutely. Doublelift also 17, 1, and 11. 2 straight Twitch games for himself and bringing out Twitch in the last 2 games. So feeling pretty good on that. I think that might be a ban for some teams coming in.
Yeah, it's a nice fantasy score right there. The more bans you can, if you could actually force Doublelift onto banning the standard 80 carries, you're opening up a lot of strategic possibilities for CLG. Knowing how many champions Link played, Dexter did break out the Jarvan that game as well. We have to give him credit. Early on in the game, he was getting a little punished, but late game come around, those Jarvan initiations were just lining things up for the Twitch play. And honestly, the Shyvana ultimates that came in as well. Seraph got focused heavily early in that game. Inox was not able to capitalize on his lane advantages once again. So with all the time Helios has put in the top lane, not getting rewarded for it, that's got to be frustrating.
Really strong play all around the map, like we said, from these guys. Coming out of picks and bans, it seems pretty even for both teams. It didn't seem like they had too much for each other. Helios did get 2 bans towards the jungle. May have hurt him there, but to point the jungle out, Dexter, a Vi game to a Jarvan game, and he's putting up numbers as well. Absolutely getting himself into the fight. Not afraid to initiate on new champions, and they're coming up big.
Yeah, the jungle meta of Elise, Lee Sin, and Eve is getting banned out a little bit because it became so shrunken that junglers were able to attack each other a little bit, especially with Amazing early on in the split. And Dexter and Crumbs, those type of junglers, even I Will Dominate, are showing their expanded champion pools a little bit. And Dexter as well has found the most success with these 2 last successful games.
It's definitely helping Counterlogic Gaming's momentum. They kind of had a few things they were looking to get into the mix, and really with this diversity, it's kind of given them that flavor that they were looking for. Evil Geniuses now, they're kind of wondering what do we do towards the late game, because it seems like they have everything ironed out early.
Yeah, EG is coming around. It's going to take time, and the difficulty is they're falling farther and farther behind in the standings. You know, that game moved them to 2-8.
Yeah.
And even though they look good this week, it still didn't result in any victories because they had that tough schedule. So next week will really be, I think, when we see if Helios can give them some wins.
All right, many more games to go and a lot to ponder for these teams. Right now, we're going to send it over to Freak and Kobe for more on CLG's win.
Thank you very much, Riv. We want to welcome Link and Dexter to the desk. Guys, congratulations on the win. A fairly long game. It seems like you guys are playing these, like, we have a Nidalee and we're throwing javelins for a while, and eventually the game ends. Is this the plan? Just throw javelins, win games, or is this how it happens to be planning out?
We just kind of figure out what team comp we want to run based off of what they pick, and we don't really know what we're gonna pick beforehand. We just have a general idea of the first few picks, and then we just kind of go with whatever.
Did anything change in the game after you see how strong their early game is going to be with Renekton and Corki and Elise and a TF moving around early?
I think we picked ourselves in a really high disadvantage. I mean, the biggest problem is Jarvan. I played Jarvan, and the biggest problem with him is his early game. He's actually really weak. People think, oh, level 2 gank, you can EQ, but it's not like this, you know? If I ever engage on them before and I get counter-ganked, I will just die. And Elise is a really strong jungler, but we had to leave it up because we came into the game with a game plan. And they had really good lanes, TF is really good, and they had the TF set up for, they had Renekton on the side lane and Thresh, which is pretty good for TF. So overall, we almost lost all lanes. And we knew that, okay, we just have to turtle it out. Nidalee has to get strong. And then again, even if you're in a good position to siege, Twitch can't take towers that good, and we had to blow ultimates to take the towers. But yeah, I think our combo was really weird. I think, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but we had a different plan for Jarvan, so yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you specifically about jungling versus Helios, because he is very aggressive early, constantly going for ganks and trying to make early plays. What's your reaction in that situation when you are working with lanes that are inherently a little bit weaker?
Well, it was pretty obvious that their plan was, okay, we have Elise Renekton, we're going to focus early game on Renekton. Like I told Seraph all the time, you have to ward now, Renekton will dive you with Elise 100%. It's going to happen, 100%. There's no way that it's not going to happen. And we knew that, but at the same time, we picked ourselves in a disadvantage and we had to live with it. Because I think even if I went top lane to counter gank it, he could have still went bot lane, and I had no idea of his pathing. So I was like, okay, I can do the risky thing and stay bot lane because we wanted our bot lane to get fed, because Twitch pretty much 1-on-5s the game. And we had to sacrifice a bit of farm on Shyvana, but yeah, I mean, Renekton, Elise is really strong. They can dive any top laner, and we knew when we went into that game. So I was really surprised that they didn't get a kill on top lane, so we just had to give up the tier 1 tower fairly early. At the same time, our Nidalee had to farm up, and it was a really passive game, and yeah, Jarvan wasn't the right pick here, so all I could do is farm up and hope for the best in late game.
So that was basically a product of champ select, was you guys having to play this style. Is that a weakness then? Link, you said you come into this game and you're like, well, we're going to pick these 3 and then we'll wing it. And it seems like you're like, well, we just got picked into a corner. Do you need a new plan coming into games now?
Personally, I thought it was okay, but
okay.
It was just a team comp where we're naturally weak early game, but when it comes to late game, they really can't do much. I mean, their initiation is really weak. Their only initiation is just TF port and Cocoon and hooks, right? But we have Mikhail's Black Shield, and people bought Banshees, so it's really easy to deal with that. And it's really slow because we do have a Twitch and we have a Nidalee, and they're 2 fundamentally different champions. One is to kill everyone, and one is to poke people down, right? But actually, it kind of works out because I can just poke them down, and then I can also heal Twitch, and you can see his damage. It's just insane. And the game is just basically one off of objectives, and we just control them, and we get vision, and they come in, they get speared, they can't do anything because they're just gonna die to Twitch. And then when it comes down to sieging their base, we just have to take it slow, and then we'll land out 1 spear, and then we'll win the game.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the turning point, really, because when we went from the weak early game to a stronger mid game, you guys had a really good fight down bottom. If we can get this play up on your screen right now, you guys have some defensive wards, and you catch Helios in one of these really aggressive moves. Can you walk us through this one, Link?
So we basically saw them rotating over from mid, and I was spearing Powelter and Helios on the way, and then Aframo misses his bind, but he lands ulti, and we also cover TP, and Jarvan lands an EQ on him, and then Twitch is just going to ulti it, and everyone is kind of in this enclosed spot, and I land a spear, so Thresh dies, Shyvana ultis in, Elise is dead, and then we just kind of chase forward, and then I think Dexter ulti is in Oxford, so this guy's dead for sure. And if that ulti hit Powelter, then it would have been perfect, but But because of this, we managed to get Dragon, and we get bottom tower, and we get all the top lane farm and the mid lane farm. So it's just a huge like power spike.
Yeah, you talk about like Nidalee and Twitch being, you know, very different champions, but they do have all this damage in a line, and they lined right up for it. It was pretty good.
It's really nice because people will like they want to initiate on you, so they're all walking forward and trying to like stun people, and you just have a Morgana like throwing binds, and I'm just throwing spears at them, healing Twitch, and then it's just like a chaotic fight where we just kite backwards and they're trying to kill us, but we just kill them.
Yeah, great terrain for you guys to fight around.
And so a setup for a thing like that, right, is that just tracking enemy movements, getting wards down at season coming in, so you know, like, guys, be ready, like, be around this fight, because you guys are obviously in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, just, yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, you guys did that one. I just want to make sure. I just want to get the setup there.
Yeah.
There was more going on. That was fine. Okay, so it's interesting. Like, so Double F also kind of thinking about the champs you guys are playing and the way this comes working out. Like, first pick Twitch once again. I know you guys talked about that, where you knew you kind of the first three things. Does Double F need to start pulling 3 bans? We don't see a ton of AD carries get attention. It seems to be like the junglers get pulled down, but people need to.
The thing is, I think we are probably like the hardest team to judge in LCS because we value our picks. Like every week we come into a new week and we value our picks differently. For example, week 1 we were like, okay, we're gonna put high focus on Elise, and then this week we don't really care at all, and we just spend really 2 strong junglers that I should have left open maybe, and then it's like a counter to Elise or like at least equal matching power. But yeah, we just come into the week with like new strategy and new value of picks, and then we just try to make the best out of it. Like just depending on scrim results and how it goes, we start like, okay, we have a priority list, and then we see what's open, and then we see, okay, what can I pick against it, and is it okay if we play against it, and what should we pick here right now? So that's how the usual thought process of that is.
So just a week's worth of scrims will make you just like, you know what, it's actually these 3 champions we care about. You'll entirely change like your game plan?
The thing is, it can change in a matter of like 1 day. You know, we can scrim like 4 days with like one specific comp, then we play against a different opponent, and we're like, okay, this comp has a weakness. And then we just change picks completely. Like we're like, okay, this champion has a higher priority in our list right now, so we have to take him out or first pick him. That's how it usually goes. And then people have like different strategies and different values of champions. And yeah, we just see what other teams like, what they prefer, and then we see how it works out. And if they have like one really strong champion, for example, like I can't really think of an example right now which team has like a signature champion or something. But yeah, everything is like a thought process of that and how you value champions pretty much. And we go into every week with a new mindset and hope for the best. So.
And no matter how good of a plan you come into a game with, it always does come down to that execution. And in this game, even though you guys had hit that point where you were stronger late game, and it was going to get easier for you, there were some fights over vision, especially, where EG had some good picks on you guys. We can pull up a replay here. They take your turret, and they do a little sneaky gank here around by the white camp.
We saw them actually at the edge, and we were like, okay, they're all there. You know, we thought they would do Baron, but we saw them. And then he missed his skill shot, and we hit the binding, but I got baited in, so I'm the first target that will die right now. But at the same time, I create zoning space for the Twitch to line up, and we got a really good Twitch ultimate off, but it really doesn't matter because they got, like, I engaged hard, which I shouldn't do, and yeah, right now, they just kite us and re-engage on us. Like, their comp is really good for kiting out too, and yeah, they have Thresh against Shyvana, they can just stun a target with TF, and now they're re-engaged, which is pretty bad for us. And they get another kill.
Yeah, Double F been walking around a long time in this replay with no mana and no auto attacks coming off.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem. I mean, they have a really good comp for kiting out. Like, Thresh is the god of kiting, and if you commit with Shyvana, you have to either commit, because kiting against Thresh is impossible. He will just hook you, box you, and yeah. And they had a Ghost TF, so he can just catch up to us again. So it's really hard for us. Like, either we have to commit full, or if we kite backwards, we just die, because they have like TF port and everything to catch up. So it's really hard, and it was a really good spot for them to fight us. So yeah, we kind of shouldn't have engaged there. And we're like, okay, we're just going to out-rotate them, force them to come to an objective, and then poke them. But yeah, I think we were a bit impatient, especially me. Like, I shouldn't have engaged that for sure. And then, yeah, I just died and paid the price for it. So.
The Zanya's bait.
Yeah,
classic.
Always. I know. Always Zanya's bait. I always die because of Zanya's bait, but yeah.
So that was a call then, is after that fight, I was going to ask, and you answered it yourself, was like, so when that happens to you, how do you refocus and change objectives? You're like, oh yeah, we're just going to group up and do the siege thing, rely on Link Javelins, and we're going to be okay. So, and that's just like the snap decision, like that fight ended, crap, we're dead 40 seconds. Okay guys, do this. You just take the death parameters to make a new call?
We have timers in chat, and then we see, okay, then we have a list of time. Okay, enemy blue buff right now, enemy red buff right now, and dragon maybe, eventually baron. And then if all of these objectives are down, the only the only possibility for us is to siege. And then we had to make like a special plan for our comp because we couldn't siege. And we're like, okay, Twitch, we're gonna heal you with Nidalee right now for the 60% attack speed with Black Shield, and then we ultimate the tower. And then we just back off instantly because we can't fight without Twitch ultimate, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like a really specific case where we have to really play, like we have to plan a lot to actually make it happen that we can get a tower. But we managed to pull it off in the end.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at the end of the game here. You guys do get, I think, Doublelift getting a triple kill at one of these turrets. Let's pull this one up for you guys on your screen. Yeah, this one.
Oh, they dive.
They go pretty deep.
Yeah.
And you kind of take the brunt of this one, Link. But then, of course, you have another carry on your team.
So recently, I think they forced my flash or something like that. Thresh flashed me. So they use everything on me, and they're all like clumped up. And Jarvan comes in, and he's gonna ulti everyone, and Twitch is gonna come, and he's just gonna wreak havoc. And it's and you can just see it. That was a beautiful EQ. 3 people knocked up, and then you know, Paul Walter's Zonias, but he's gonna die the instant he comes out. And meanwhile, Twitch is just killing everyone. And then, well, that's the power of Twitch.
Yeah, just clean people up. So right now, with that win over EG, you guys are now tied for second with LMQ, and Dig's coming up next. If they lose, you're tied for first place. I don't remember the last time you guys actually were in first place in the LCS, but you guys are looking really freaking good now, right? Is this am I missing something?
We're okay.
I think we are, like, the problem is we're really sloppy. I mean, I think our early game is a bit shaky right now, and then our short calls at Baron, like, we are basically the Dignitas of the season. We threw 2 games of Baron, and yeah, I think we are actually, every team is equal, I think, right now.
Really?
Like, yeah, I think every team has like different strengths and weaknesses. And I mean, even like the bottom 2 teams, like bottom 2 teams is usually like, okay, they can't really win against teams, but EG put a really good fight against like C9, and they almost won the, or LMQ, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they put a really good fight, and they had the game.
Really.
I mean, I think they won. Like, actually, they should have won the game for sure. And you can see that all the teams can basically beat each other. And right now, it's like really every team is trying to figure out what's best for them. And there's no really good team that's like standing out above the rest. Like last split, I think there are like a lot of good teams, and it's really hard for us to like actually pull ahead. And I think we will be like in the middle of the season, probably like still like second or third again. And yeah, every team is like really good, I think. So we have a lot of like, I'm actually having a lot of like concerns about going to Worlds right now. So it's like,
really,
yeah.
What will it take for you guys to like solidify like we're the best? Like you said, you're sloppy early game, but like what does it take for CLG to be like, we're NA's hope, we're gonna crush some Koreans?
I don't know. It's really hard. I mean, you can't really see progress in like one day. You have to like progress. Okay, today we're gonna focus on objective control. Today we're gonna focus on vision control, and it gets better, like slowly better over time. But at the same time, the opponents get better too. So if you just don't improve like super hard in like a matter of like a couple of days, there's always like the enemy teams can catch up to you too, and then they try to figure out what to run against it, and it's really hard. I mean, if you have like good teams that have like a really good grasp on the game and how to improve and where to improve, like with coaches. I mean, every team got coaches, analysts. So yeah, I think it's really like a lot harder than last split right now to get better and to actually pull ahead. So yeah.
Okay, well, good luck to you guys. Congrats on the win. We'll see you guys next week, and you'll continue to move up towards the, I guess, the top 3 as you are right now.
Yeah.
Well, guys, going to go stealth for one final break before we launch into our LCS, last LCS game of the day, Cloud9 versus Team Dignitas. The North American LCS continues after this.
Did we give you too much coffee?
Doublelift is just on the backside. Rat-a-tat-tat's already going out. He is making some hits right now. Dexter trying to still get into range to lock somebody down. He knows the Inox can just slice and dice out, but he doesn't. He is stuck now.
I'm fine. Nid. Okay, stop. He's stunned. I have flash. Go. I'm coming. Click. Nice. Okay, Nash.
Doublelift is still coming around the side. It's a perfect place to rat-a-tat-tat, but it's also a perfect place to get focused on. Pole Bouncer's gonna come out and drop instantly.